So welcome everyone to today's Alcor webinar, Manage US Healthcare Analytics using Tableau. Data analytics is receiving increasing attention in many industries, including healthcare. It is vitally important for healthcare organizations to acquire the available tools, infrastructure, and techniques to leverage analytics effectively, or else risk losing potentially millions of dollars in revenue and profits. In this webinar, you will discover how you can manage patient care and truly transform your healthcare data into actionable insights using Tableau. Before that, let me fill you in quickly about Alcor. Alcor Solutions is a global digital transformation services company serving Fortune 500, government agencies, and other leading organizations in multiple industry verticals across US, Canada, Europe, Japan, and India. Alcor advises leading businesses on cloud platforms, digital workflows, technology and robotic automation, enterprise service management, HR solutions, integrated risk management, and data and analytics. We also provide business process consulting to capture, re-engineer, and improve processes that can easily be automated to deliver real value. The Alcor consulting team has excellence in business strategy, cloud technology, and organizational change management. Alcor is a ServiceNow Elite partner, AWS partner, and Oracle partner, and also works with PeopleRain, Azure, Salesforce, Incota, Snow Software, Tanium, and several other cutting-edge technologies. Our today's webinar is presented by Dr. Meenakshi Singh and Shubhra Maheshwari. Talking about our first presenter, Dr. Meenakshi Singh, Meenakshi is a senior consultant at Alcor and holds 10 plus years of experience in US healthcare domain and has worked for more than 6 leading EHRs projects like Cerner, Meditech, McKesson, Allscripts, few behavioral EHRs, and others. She has expertise in project management, client management, service industry, requirement elicitation, solutioning, and business analysis. The next presenter that we have is Shubhra Maheshwari. Shubhra is a senior developer at Alcor Solutions and have 6+ years of experience in database development, data integration, data warehouse development, managing electronic healthcare applications, analytics using Tableau, Oracle Apex, and Oracle EBS HRMS. To make our today's webinar session engaging, we have planned a few poll questions, so please be on a lookout. Also, we have time reserved at the end of the webinar for Q&A, so please feel free to type any questions into the question section of the webinar dashboard. We look forward to your participation. Thank you so very much. I'll now turn the webinar over to you, Meenakshi.
Thanks, Pulkit, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Let's start our discussion. As we all know, there are three important components of every analytics solution, which includes data repositories, analytics team, and analytics tools like Tableau, R, machine learning, AI, etc. So why do we really need analytics? We need analytics because analytics can improve effectiveness and efficiency. From managing small details to large processes, analytics can aid exploration and discovery. It can help design and plan policy and programs, improve service delivery and operations, enhance sustainability, mitigate risk, and provide a means for measuring and evaluating critical organizational data. Perhaps most important, it can expand access to healthcare, align pay with performance, and help hold down growth in healthcare cost. Now is the time to analyze available data to predict, describe, and prescribe solutions to strenuous healthcare issues we need to address today. Do you know the smartwatch you are wearing is generating health data? The application you use to log your activities like meals, sleep, steps also does the same. Every healthcare stakeholder generates certain amount of data which can be analyzed for understanding different scenarios. This is the workflow of big data analytics. Data warehouses store massive amounts of data generated from various sources like EHR, EMR, regulatory bodies, insurances, patient records, etc. This data is processed using analytic pipelines to obtain smarter, and affordable healthcare solutions. These solutions are then applied on underlying problems to obtain better outcomes. Next slide. Instead of focusing further on why, let's start with how to use analytics in healthcare space. How? How are healthcare providers or payer organizations applying analytics today? And how might they need to think about its future use? How can government make use of public health data? Here is the response. This process starts with data generation. Healthcare is a big data repository, but how are we generating data here? Data can be generated through the wearable devices or health applications. Likewise, we can pull data from EHR, EMR, public health surveys, pharma industry, clinical trials, insurance claims, and real time assets like pacemakers or ambulatory limbs. Then comes data extraction, meaning you are getting the data out of a system. Systems typically support data transmission using health level 7, HL7 messages or web services. But only a fraction of total information in the system may be accessible using such an interface or API. Systems may also use a backend reporting database for data extraction to facilitate the sharing and exchange of data through standardization of data formats. Let me cite a very recent example. Apple has released new feature for its health app. This feature is new health record tool aimed at making data exchange easier between patients, clinicians, and few major EHRs. The logic this feature works on is streamlined health data exchange and interoperability. To make all this happen at a good pace, we need to start including data prep as a very important step after data extraction. Now comes analytics. The application of analytics in healthcare requires the transformation of data into usable information that can be relayed back to end users. The adoption of EHRs and other electronic data mechanisms make the application of analytics tools more tractable by providing basic electronic data upon which to act. The last part is visualization and reporting. We now have n number of tools to data visualization and reporting. Advanced visualization techniques can provide more consistent, clean, and unambiguous charts that can improve the speed and reliability of users' decision making. Next slide. Where to use analytics in healthcare? Let me quote another example of health analytics outcome I recently came across. Google is doing a pilot project where they are analyzing patients' eye scans to understand probable cardiovascular risk factors they may encounter in near future. They are using AI combined with CDSS, its clinical decision support system, to diagnose underlying risk. When implemented on larger scale, this would say goodbye to CT, MRI, PET scans we are prescribing today. In this slide, we are looking at a number of scenarios, situations, and processes where we can use health analytics. Like for real-time alerting, we can use CDSS software, which analyzes medical data on the spot, providing health practitioners with advice as they make prescriptive decisions. Similarly, analysts can use statistical tools to help physicians determine appropriate course of treatment for an individual patient. So instead of using one size fits all approach, this helps in personalizing treatment for patients. Likewise, analytics can assist in evaluating practitioners' performance. There are set of standards prescribed in meaningful use. We can measure providers' performances on the basis of these standards. Clinicians can also use analytics in telemedicine to provide personalized treatment plans and prevent hospitalization or readmission. For radiology or laboratory, image and lab analytics approach uses machine learning and pattern recognition techniques to draw insights to transform diagnosis, treatment, and monitoring of patient. The technologies used in this area are PACS, LIS, RIS, and communication language we use is TICOM. Staff management. With analytical tools in healthcare, it is possible to streamline your staff management activities in a wealth of key areas. It's possible for time-stretched medical institutions to optimize staffing and forecasting, operating room and OPD demands. Also, we can leverage analytics tools to track the supply chain performance metrics and make accurate data driven decisions concerning operations as well as spending that can save hospitals up to $10 million per year. That's a big amount, guys. One more example. Data analysis in, data analysis in healthcare has the power to assist in new therapy, innovative drug discoveries, and trials. By utilizing a mix of historical, real time, and predictive metrics, as well as a cohesive mix of data visualization techniques, pharma experts can identify potential strengths and weaknesses in trials or processes. Likewise, for payer side, analytics can help prevent fraud and inaccurate claims. In a systemic, repeatable way, analytics help to streamline the processing of insurance claims, enabling patients to get better returns on their claims and to get payment faster. Next slide. How do high performing organizations use it differently than their peers? How top performing healthcare organizations are using analytics to influence outcomes, create differentiation, and drive revenue growth. This is capability progression model. As you can see, aspirational organizations have few of the necessary building blocks, peoples, processes, or tools to gather data, understand, or act on analytical insights. But they are lacking the mindset and clear problem insight for which they are finding answers. Often they are focusing on efficiency or automation of existing processes and cost cutting. Having gained some analytic insight, experienced organizations are looking to go beyond cost management. They are developing better ways to effectively collect, incorporate, and act on analytics so that they can begin to optimize their organizational processes. But they haven't reached to that level of solutioning. On the contrary, transformed organizations have substantial experience using analytics. They use it as a competitive differentiator for organizing people, processes, and tools to optimize solutions. Instead of focusing on cost cutting, transformational organizations focus on driving customer profitability and making targeted investments. Time for a quick poll, guys. You will be able to see it over your screens. I would request everyone to please answer them to help us understand you better. Thank you for sharing responses. Time to move ahead. Next slide. Despite the advantages that can be offered by application of analytics, a number of barriers can delay its adoption. Many of the biggest barriers to analytics adoption are organizational or the culture that does not encourage information sharing. Then there is lack of understanding of data, lack of ability to get the data, lack of skills internally in the line of business, or lack of clear requirements, maybe. Most of the times, ownership of data is unclear, or governance is not that effective, or perceived cost may outweigh the projected benefits. Others are unclean data, storage issues, standard coding barriers, and data sharing or interoperability issues. Let's move on to risk now. Fast pace of technology and impact on decision making processes. Okay, the healthcare industry is not immune to this pace. Traditional doctor and patient relationships are impacted. One challenge is finding a balance between patient care and data capture within the traditional allotted appointment times whilst maintaining a trusted doctor and patient relationship. Similarly, moral hazard has roots in many areas. This could increase risk in healthcare if, for example, a doctor relies on a computer to give a diagnosis over their own assessment. They may take more risk because they believe they are protected with computer, being accountable and bearing the cost of the risk. That's now how it works, guys. Also, there is no clear legislation or policy framework in this area for many countries. So, an ethical issue can occur unless risk controls are put in place specifically to address bias. Privacy pressures. The move from paper to electronic centered patient health records has made healthcare industry rich in data. How the data is collected and integrated is protected by laws. It is essential in regulating as well as handling the personal information of an individual. Strict laws like HIPAA are standing as a great savior in privacy issues. But all these barriers and risks definitely cannot outweigh the benefits health analytics brings in a process or a business. Next slide. Now let's discuss best practices to implement analytics in your projects or processes. First of all, focus on a clear priority. Change is hard for most. So select an initiative that is worthy of sustained focus that can make the biggest difference in achieving your organization's desired outcomes. Start attacking the selected high value opportunity area by gaining insight into the problem space through questions you would like answered. They will lead to a better understanding of the information that is needed and the data that can be used to generate that information. The fundamental requirement for analytics initiative is to be scalable, both in its technology, architectures, and its human resource requirements. As adoption spreads, we need to incorporate greater variety of skills adding to current ones. And analytics vision and information agenda is a necessary tool to align the efforts of many stakeholders. Every phase of implementation needs to align its data foundation to an overall information agenda that accelerates the organization's ability to share and deliver trusted information across all applications and processes. Next slide. So, after you decide to include analytics, let's discuss how to build momentum. We will discuss each of these questions and the tips to answer them as a team. So, first one, what are the highest value make or break issues of quality, cost, or access that will enable you to be a competitive, sustainable healthcare organization? You need to analyze associated risk, cost, variable or invariable, and solution benefits, short term or long term, for required analytical outcome. Do you know what questions you want to answer? Okay, for this, you need to understand why we are analyzing a scenario. Emphasize on better patient care, shorter length of stay, filling gaps in care, a myriad of reasons for justifying people, processes, and technology, etc. Analyze the goal and how are we going to achieve it and what all skills are needed for the job. Then, how will you generate the answers and embed these insights into clinical and business processes? Create a process flow and stick to it. Keep including measures to improvise this process. Then, find the right talent and make sure it understands the goal. An effective approach can be to focus on processes in either area, clinical or admin, that have a well defined business need and available data. Next one. Do you, do you have an information agenda that both addresses this transformational opportunity and optimizes analytical investment over time? For this, gather all the information regarding probable transformations or changes that the analytical solution may bring. Pay attention to both internal and external data. The best practice is to bring all the key stakeholders together to collaborate and debate on which outcomes will be the key to success of the organization. Communicate your objectives clearly and then educate your staff. Next one. What are the cultural impediments that could derail any analytics initiative, and what are you going to do about it? We need to understand the barriers to the analysis and measures to overcome those. So start small and make no mistake to buy the big chunk and then not being able to handle it properly. That's the key, guys. We know that analytics is increasingly weaving itself into healthcare domain and will fundamentally shape the future of medicine and care delivery. However, there are significant challenges and issues, but they are necessary to ensure the application and understanding of analytics in healthcare systems of the future. With this thought, I conclude my presentation here and hand over further discussion and demo to my colleague Shubhra Maheshwari. Shubhra, over to you.
Thank you so much, Meenakshi. We will proceed further in our webinar with few case studies. This slide covers the descriptive analytics part, representing the simple data for a hospital management system, visualizing the information about appointment count, client satisfaction, availability of staff, and admission versus cost analysis. So what is the benefit of doing this? Analyzing the upcoming appointments can help you manage your resources demand in advance. No-shows or cancellations can be the good candidates for understanding the pain areas for clients. Next, understanding the client satisfaction rating and their agreement with doctors' treatments are necessary to improve the quality of services and keeping it cost effective at the same time. These visualizations help business owners or healthcare staff to make concrete data-driven decisions instead of going by the assumptions. Here we see the size and capacity of a hospital chain with 50 plus hospitals and 100K plus caregivers and reaching to approximately 2 million clients. This dashboard covers the cost trend and patient experience trend. How it is adding value? By helping to create an understanding how wasteful practices can drive up the cost per patient case and make healthcare less affordable. And that change in cost may impact client experience negatively. Moving forward, this dashboard gives us the holistic understanding of patient health and satisfaction levels, cost of care, treatment outcomes, and other data to optimize quality of care, as well as to improve the patient and provider experience. Value-driven analytics change clinicians' perspective towards analytics. How both good and bad client experience or satisfaction level can be a learning. By utilizing the best factors responsible for higher satisfaction level for a provider or a hospital and implementing them, improving the places that are lagging behind. These dashboards help practitioners and clinicians to see analytics that belongs to every hospital, clinician, and nursing units as a whole. Moving forward, now is the time to talk about outcomes of the new changes implemented in the system. Changes that could only be done because of identification of pain areas and understanding the system as a whole. A similar approach resulted in an overall cost per case reduction by $250+ in the initial year of the work. By collecting data, analyzing it, and sharing it in a more organized way, organizations can make it easier for doctors to understand what behaviors positively or negatively impact patient care, and bending the cost curve downward or keeping it flat across all patient costs and clinical areas. Let's move forward and talk about a few strengths of Tableau. Tableau offers the endless list of data sources that can be seamlessly connected with Tableau. Recent additions including SAP HANA database as a data source. Tableau Bridge. Not to worry if your data is sitting in an on-prem environment. Tableau Bridge helps connecting seamlessly your data source with Tableau Online to keep the data fresh in the published data sources. Data modeling in general word, common fields between data sets are the most common way to connect data sources. However, Tableau has launched an innovative way of connecting data sources using calculated fields and inequality operators. Data management. Interesting things around data management introduced recently are checking the box for tag the stale data. It helps in keeping the data refreshed in the dashboards. Second, maintain revision history can help in tracking back the changes done during the entire span cycle of dashboard changes. Moving next, the option for enabling data quality warnings can help in identifying and eliminating the bad data at the very beginning stage of visualization development. The most important part of the entire analytics cycle is utilization of predictive analytics, which is generally done using advanced algorithms of R and Python. To make the process a little easier, Tableau has introduced a built-in feature to perform forecasting and create predictions, utilizing the same data source available for visualizations. So, moving forward, what are the general steps involved in visualization process? There can be more in-depth steps, but these are the most common ones that must be followed. Data blending involves concatenating the data from multiple sources or combining different data elements from the same source and combine them based on common fields. Data cleansing, it makes sure that we are not carrying data that can impact the analysis negatively. Hence, eliminating the discrepancies becomes really important. Data modeling is a conceptual representation of data objects, the association between those objects and the rules. It enforces business rules, regulatory compliances, and government policies on the data, and ensure consistency in naming conventions, default values, semantics, security, while ensuring the quality of the data. Data visualization is giving a visual context to the information using charts and graphs. It makes it easier to identify trends, patterns, and outliers in the available data sets. So moving forward, what is descriptive analytics? Information is the oil of 21st century, and analytics is the combustion engine, said by a renowned leader of IT industry. So what exactly is analytics and why it is so important? Obtaining deep insight into what is happening requires aggregating data together from multiple systems and performing statistical analysis on the aggregated data. Analytics refers to the discovery of meaningful pattern and is one of the steps in the life cycle of collection of raw data, preparation of information, analysis of patterns to synthesize knowledge, and action to produce value. The simplest way to describe descriptive analytics is getting meaningful insight into the past. How it is useful? It is useful in following ways: helping us learn from past behaviors and understand their possible impact on future outcomes. And that facilitates in summarizing and describing different aspects. The majority of analytics falls in this category. Descriptive analytics are often presented as pie charts, bar charts, column charts, area charts, heat map, tables, or written narratives. Moving next. Predictive analytics facilitates with actionable insights based on data and deduce estimates about the possibility of a future outcome. It can only forecast what might happen in the future. And all predictive analytics are probabilistic in nature. An emphasis on prediction, rapid analysis, an emphasis on the business relevance of the resulting insights, and an emphasis on the ease of use are the 4 attributes of predictive analytics. Telemedicine has been an emerging area in healthcare in order to meet increasing demands, especially post-COVID outbreak. Organizations were not sure if the new model is going to work well for them. Hence, they started studying their everyday work to predict the future scope of new model. Prescriptive analytics. It is relatively a new field and allows user to prescribe a number of different possible actions and guide them towards a solution. In a nutshell, these analytics are all about providing advice. It is characterized by techniques such as graph analysis, simulation, complex event processing, neural networks, recommendation engines, heuristics, and machine learning. Live video was the most allowed medium that healthcare organizations leveraged. But after COVID-19 outbreak, they had to look for alternative options to maximize their reachability. After predicting and prescribing the other alternatives, 49 states and territories allowed telephone and text-based platforms as telehealth modalities. Post-COVID-19, there has been a major shift in telehealth policies. States started allowing telehealth for new verticals. It started getting reimbursed at the same rate as in-person visit. And home was allowed as an originating site for telehealth services. Now it is the time for some answers through a quick poll. Could you all please answer these questions and help us analyze the need better? Thank you. Thank you for sharing the responses. Let's move to the demo now. It is important to choose a visualization that is appropriate for the type of data. For example, categorical data can be represented with column or bar charts, tables, and pivot tables, while quantitative data can be shown with histograms and a wide variety of other types of graphics, such as scatter plots and star plots. This dashboard has been built using the data that has been taken from COVID-19 surveillance database reported to US states and autonomous reporting agencies. Average count of positive and negative cases, including confirmed and probable count wherever reported. Recovered cases are the estimates based on local media reports and state and local reporting wherever available, and therefore may be substantially lower or higher than the true number. Average count of hospitalized cases compared with average count of ICU admissions. We can see the state-wise impact of the COVID, which state has the highest impact. Moving forward, types of service, healthcare services via telehealth. In response to COVID-19 outbreak, many states and territories expanded the availability of Medicaid services via telehealth. Federal Medicaid statutes and rules gave states broad flexibility to establish policies that govern the use of telehealth. Specifically, states can determine which services can be provided through telehealth, where in the state to use telehealth, which modalities to allow, and which providers may deliver services via telehealth, and the rates at which it will be reimbursed. Services and specialty care eligible to be delivered through telehealth before and in response to COVID-19, including primary care, behavioral health care, maternity care, physical, occupational, speech therapies, dental care, and long-term services or supports. As many as 44 states expanded the type of services eligible to be delivered through telehealth. Physical, occupational, and speech therapies went the largest change, becoming eligible for telehealth delivery in 33 states, whereas only 16 previously allowed it. Telehealth for long-term services and supports, dental services, and maternity care also expanded in 27, 20, and 16 states and territories, respectively, compared with 14, 19, and 15 that previously allowed it. Primary care and behavioral health services were also extended in some of the states, 15 and 5 respectively, though both the services type were most widely eligible for telehealth before the outbreak as well. States with the most flexible telehealth policies allowed clinically appropriate Medicaid-covered services to be delivered via telehealth, regardless of service category. 5 states, including New Jersey, New York, added broad language to their telehealth policies to newly allow at least one service type via telehealth. As many as 8 states allowed a limited set of services via telehealth before COVID-19, but added broad language to expand allowed services following the outbreak. 3 states also added assessment and management of COVID-19 symptoms to their list of telehealth eligible services. Modalities covered before and in response to COVID-19, including live video, store and forward, remote patient monitoring, telephone, and text-based communication. In response to outbreak, most states and territories, 49, expanded the modalities through which beneficiaries could receive telehealth, most notably offering telephone and text-based platforms not previously allowed. 44 states and territories had begun allowing telehealth via telephone or live audio platforms, compared with just 9 states that did so previously. 11 states offered text-based communications. 5 states expanded store and forward technologies. The expansion of telephone and text-based communications represents a major shift in telehealth. Before COVID-19, the most reimbursed modality for delivering telehealth was live video, which every state's Medicaid program reimbursed in some form. 47 allowed patients to obtain services from their home by designating home as an originating site. As of May 1st, 2020, these policies were new or documented for the first time in 26 states. This dashboard has been created using the public data and utilizing different analytics capabilities to fill in the gaps to identify the states that have more scope for telehealth for providing different healthcare services and have more score for the type of modalities that are yet to be adopted. States with higher rank may have fewer healthcare services provided via telehealth as of now, and hence those states can be the good candidates for improvement.
Thank you, Shubhra. Thank you, Meenakshi. What an insightful webinar, I must say. So we can move to the question and answers. As a reminder, folks, please use the question section to ask a question on today's topic. All right, so we have our first question over here. How can we use analytics for telehealth services? Presenters, would you like to answer?
Yeah, sure. Identifying analytics trends and outcomes can be used for better diagnosis, post-treatment medication and monitoring, early identification and prevention of communicable diseases actually. It helps and encourages value-based care delivery coupled with reduced cost.
Perfect. I think that answers it all. Thank you so very much, Meenakshi. All right, so we have our next question. How healthcare data modeling is done in Tableau?
All right. So along with the traditional ways like multiple type of joins and aggregations using common fields between the data sources, Tableau in its recent release has introduced some innovative ways of doing data modeling. For example, using relationships. Tableau automatically combines only relevant tables at the time of analysis, preserving right level of detail. Its new multi-table logical data model can preserve records for multiple fact tables in a single data source. Relationships can handle more complex data models in one place. Thank you for asking such a good question.
Perfect. Thank you so very much. So we have another one in queue. What is the use of analytics in imaging and diagnostics?
Okay, I will answer this. Data analytics for healthcare could change the way images are read. Like algorithms developed into analyzing thousands of images could identify specific patterns in the pixels and convert it to number of help the physician with the diagnosis. When these algorithms are combined with a CDS system, it can help in providing better patient care. So it actually recognizes the patterns and then collates it. If
Thank you so very much, Meenakshi. I think that answers it all.
Yeah.
All right. So we have another question. What kind of dashboards can be created using Tableau?
All right, yeah, I can answer that one. There are multiple dashboards that can be created using Tableau. For example, in reference to healthcare, we can create hospital management dashboard, patient admission and cost analysis dashboards, insurance or peer management dashboards, pharma sector dashboards, and many more. So this list is never ending, and things can be added as per the business needs. I hope that makes sense.
Perfect answer, Shubhra. Thank you so very much. I would spare a few seconds for people if they want to ask any more questions. All right, so we can conclude. Thank you everyone for joining. It was a pleasure to have you all gearing up your morning and evening with us for some meaningful insights. We are looking forward to seeing you soon at our next webinar. Hope you have a great time ahead. Thank you to all the panelists. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.